Uh-huh.
Hola.
Nice setup you got there, Ted. Being
Hey,
in
thank you. In my backyard.
Yeah.
Perpetually jealous.
Yeah.
Get outside, people. Yeah. Isabel, I don't know if you've seen, but Midori's got a similar setup.
Plus a dog.
Yeah.
Or 2 dogs. At least 1 dog.
Dogs. Yeah. Stephen, I'm not sure if we've actually met. Apologies if we met before, but nice to meet you otherwise.
Yeah, I think probably earlier on, I joined some of the, or like, I guess a lot of the original, or like earlier on SIG meetings, and then kind of fell off for a couple months, but hoping to get, I should have more time now going forward.
Awesome.
Welcome back.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, likewise. I had high hopes I was actually going to get to write code this summer, but those hopes have perpetually been dashed.
Yeah.
That specs count as code. Oh, we got people, their usual Zoom nonsense. Here, let me give you the right link.
Is Josh going to join today?
He can't make it to this call today, and neither can Krismir.
Okay. Then I think we should get started, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's an agenda, Doc, but
Usually there is one, but let me just see if there is a link.
I can never we should get it added to the calendar.
Yeah. I'll have to probably go to the old calendar and then pull it from there.
Let's see.
Yeah, found it.
Sweet.
Janet. There you go. Yes, issues. Okay. Let me share the screen and let's look at the pull request first. Ted, do you want to record it?
I think we are automatically recording.
Oh,
so
okay.
We're using these new CNCF Zoom links, so they auto record when we start.
Okay, perfect.
And I need to follow up on where the video actually goes. But I think the long run is to try to get this stuff all up onto like a YouTube channel, so it's easy to find.
Okay. How do I share it? Let's see. Oh, there you go. Share. Okay, in a pull request, there's not much. Just a Golang metric prototype. I believe that's being broken down by Kashmir, and he's gonna put new request out there. Is that correct, Ted?
That's correct. Yeah, he's hacking on that with Josh. So I think they'll coordinate that effort.
B3 propagator, I need to refactor based on the commit that has been done for the propagator interface. I'll get to that either today or tomorrow. So we're going to leave that as is. Let's look at the issues. Let me sort it out by the alpha release. So yesterday night, I put the alpha milestone for the issues that we need for September 30th. And let me first look at the trace here. So we basically have 5 things pending that we need to finish by Monday. So actually, it's not 5, actually it's 4. The batch span processor is part of, that's the missing part, and span processor was the umbrella issue that covered both API interface for span processor and the simple span processor and batch span processor.
Yeah.
So batch span processor, I'm working on that. So I'll have that done today. And the other 2, I think nobody has stayed. Like if we start from top, STD out exporter. Mayank last time who had joined, I don't know, he's probably not here at this time. He wanted.
I have started working on the gRPC plugin.
Okay. So is that assigned to you already, Isabel? No, right?
I don't believe so.
Okay. Should I assign that to you?
Yes, please. Sorry, I should keep myself unmuted for more than half a sec, probably.
Okay. And go back. So STD out is still pending. If somebody can pick it up.
I can do it probably this week.
Okay.
Neat.
Should be straightforward.
Yeah.
Start with K, right? What's the
SJ, Karis.
all right. Sign. Okay. Binary trace propagator. I think that's part of that same thing, B3 propagator. So it should be assigned to me. I'll do that tomorrow after the batch span processor. Okay. So we have everything covered for the tracing aspect of September 30th deadline. Actually, there's one more README thing that needs to be done, which I haven't put alpha label on it. So let me. I guess it doesn't have. It's probably the doc. Yeah, so this one needs to be done, which should be straightforward as well. So we want something like a Python like README file.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So let me see. Let me assign it to myself right now. If I can't get to it by tomorrow, then I make, and if I have something pending for Monday, then I'll ask for help on Gitter.
Sweet.
Okay. So I think that, so with respect to metrics, I know that our deadline for the Go part is October the 2nd, first week. It's not September 30th. And I think since Josh and Kashmir are not here, I don't think we can get the answer as to whether we feel comfortable achieving those deadline for the metrics part.
Yeah. I think we also have a small reprieve here in terms of the overall timeline for the OpenTheTree project. Sergey posted an update to the milestones. I'll try to disseminate this more clearly to everyone so that they have it, but I can post, I'll just splat this into our agenda doc, because it's basically the same thing. Milestones, these are just my notes here, so.
Okay.
Oh God, spaces. So I just splatted a bunch of stuff into the doc.
Okay.
I need to go over this with people. Boop. Yeah. Okay.
So-
So maybe let me share my screen and I could just briefly just review this.
Sure.
So boop boop do. Sharing. So we had like a check-in this week about like project velocity and like what we think is realistic. And there is a desire to get a little more organized.
Mhm.
So what got proposed was the current version of the spec is called, version 0.1.
Mm-hmm.
We'd like to kick the alpha off with a couple of the final specs that are in flight, namely metrics and this kind of name tracer, component thing that people have been wanting. So we'd like to get those RFCs merged in by 10.4
Mm-hmm.
next week, and we're gonna version that spec and call that v.2.
Okay.
And then try to ask that all of the SIGs that are like at this, almost there kind of deadline by 10.14 to be able to say that they're up to like v.2 of the spec, which I believe we should be able to hit without a problem because we're already there basically.
Okay.
And this right here is what we're thinking like the SDK would have in this v.2, which I believe again we already have, but it would be great to get a review.
So I see that the span processor interface and implementation is part of V2.
I think that is the case. If that seems unrealistic, I'm sure we could remove.
No, because I thought that was part of the alpha, the first one, which was September 30th.
Yeah, so that's just to clarify what we're saying is like we were aiming for September 30th, but with the metrics spec work in particular kind of not quite resolved yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to push back that September 30th alpha date to the
10.14, I see. So everything, including trace, and basically goes to 10.14 now?
Yeah, we're going to try to have a more public messaging around 10.14 saying like, hey, OpenTelemetry is in alpha, everyone come try to do it. And we want to have that messaging happen when, at least a number of these SIGs are hitting that deadline. And since the current spec is called v.1, we're going to call that v.2. So we're going to say the first alpha re-release is like the 0.2 version of the project.
Okay.
And then there's still some remaining work that we know. There's a set of specs that are still in flight, some unresolved issues around global initialization, context, the like, OTel protocol, semantic conventions. And so we want to get those RFCs completed. And we'll call that, once those are in, we'll call that release a 0.3 release.
Okay.
And of course, this is all negotiable. This is just kind of what we came up with.
Yeah, I think at least for Go, whatever we had planned for September 30th for the tracing, we should try to finish that anyway, even though the deadline is extended for.
I completely agree. I'm not saying we should slow down at all, but just the general plan, just to make sure, we can have at least 5 of these SIGs over the finish line.
Now, you copied this stuff from some other document. Do you mind putting a link here so that if that changes, the source changes, then it's reflected? Right?
Yes, I'll put a link. There's a flavor of this that's now in the spec repo.
Okay.
There's a milestones document there.
I see.
I actually think our notes are almost a little bit cleaner than what ended up in there, but
I see.
it's
Okay.
the same information. So if you look at the milestones document, that has this. And but again, we can clean it up a bit. So there is actually a question around versioning. We were discussing it would be great if the projects were able to match the version number of the spec. I'm not totally sure how realistic that is, but I did want to check in if we could be moving towards a versioning scheme where we were saying we were at 0.2 and then using the patch number as like our build or our patch releases for the project.
When you say project renamed, what do you mean by?
The Golang, so the Golang API, like the Golang packages that we're creating. Wondering if we could move the versions of those packages to match the spec version. So if we're going to say the Golang SDK, could we like redo our versioning to say once we hit these goals, we're at
got it. Yeah.
0.2, and then every time we make an update or make a push, we're bumping the patch number.
Okay.
0.1, 2.2, 2.3.
Yeah, we will just have to then be careful of not putting partial changes from point V3 spec into V2. Otherwise,
I'm not in practice. It's not totally clear to me what this means, because I don't think we're at the stage yet where we'd want to be maintaining like a 0.2 branch and a 0.3 branch or any crazy nonsense like that. So
I mean, we can try to tag it as close to the spec, but
yeah, exactly.
Best effort, basically.
Exactly. In practice, it's not clear to me what's problematic about this approach, but we'd like to try something where there's some correlation between the versions we're using and the SDKs and the version of the spec that it matches. Another approach might be to say that, that if we have in our README, or when we're saying like if each API or each part of the project is maybe conforming to a different part of the spec, I could see some way of communicating that. But yeah, anyways, that's just an open question.
Okay.
Cool. Okay, that's my update.
Going back to agenda, I wanted to talk about HTTP plugin that we have. But again, so in the current plugin, we have a lot of traces, a lot of span just from the client side. So if I pull, let me share that again. So if you go to repo here and example, so I don't know whether you can see it or not. So with the current HTTP plugin, when a request is made, we get the span for getting the connection, DNS, the actual connection, send. So there are like 4 different span created for the plugin. Now that works nice for the demo, but in reality, if somebody were to use the plugin, I don't think they want separation of all the spans. There will be too many spans for every request. So I believe that we need to reduce this thing. Maybe there can be some sort of annotation or attributes giving the details, but I don't think we need to create the span. I want to get the opinion of others.
So in open tracing, for these smaller details, we had the open tracing log interface, which I think in Open Census was like timed events, like that. And so, yeah, to the degree to which you want to know about these operations, but it seemed like it might be just timed events or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. So then I can go ahead and open an issue to change the plugin to make this change and make it timed events instead of spans.
That would be my suggestion.
Okay.
Maybe,
and then if there's any,
exactly which is which, but yeah.
Yeah, we can discuss it out on the issue if there is any concern.
No.
Okay. So that was one thing, and there was one more thing. Let's see if I have it here. No, I didn't put it in the note here.
I had another small question for the gRPC plugin.
Yeah.
If you pull up the issue, I asked it there too, but basically, there are two routes we can, or kind of two main routes we can go with the plugin. One is what the open tracing plugins did. The other is what open census did. So basically, we can use either interceptors or the stats handler. The stats handler exposes things like wire length, which are useful, but it doesn't let us capture things per message sent in a stream. Only the interceptors do that. And so if you have like a long running stream, that feels pretty valuable.
So in a case of a long-running stream, that will be only a single trace, right? And there will be multiple.
It would be a single span, one span for the whole stream.
One span for this whole stream, and on a server side, if that request or message results into some another span, that will be all child span for this parent span, correct?
So the stats handler only captures one span for the entire stream.
But what on the other side if that results into some work and that there are some child spans created out of it?
Do you mean like if you have database calls or something?
Yeah.
So those would be separate spans, but if you have
those would be
like,
separate
let's say
span,
that
but they'll belong to same trace because
right, but they'll all have. So for example, if you are using if you're using streaming for like instead of pagination, then you let's say that you have like a large number of values, or the client cancels or something, that would show the entire stream as canceled.
But it won't be like misuse in a sense that you open a stream, but within the stream you have individual requests coming in, which are
those would not be captured with the stats handler.
okay.
Only with the interceptor.
So I think then from that perspective, interceptor would be more useful.
That was my sense. I just wanted to know how you all felt about losing the wire length. I don't think that any other gRPC languages have something equivalent to the stats handler.
You mean the other languages don't have a stats handler at all? It's only available in Go?
And some of them only even have, only some of them have an interceptor even.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think any of them have stats handler.
Okay. The other question I think I put it an issue is it possible to have both? Is there some sort of an option?
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. That might be useful. The ergonomics could be a bit funky, but we can certainly try it.
Yeah, because the application may use it in a different way, and maybe useful to provide if possible.
Yeah.
I think we can pick one approach or the other, at least for the 10-14 timeframe.
Yeah.
And then add the other option if need be.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Then the other thing for the HTTP plugin, we don't currently have a handler, like a server handler. I paired with Edward Muller from Heroku, who sometimes comes to the SIG, a bit on that yesterday, and I think he's going to keep working on that.
So a server handler is missing on the HTTP plugin, right?
Yeah.
Open an issue.
I can open an issue for it, or it also works if you do.
hang on. Okay. So for the gRPC, can we make a decision right now whether to go with the handler or interceptor? I would say
Anyone
we can go with
against you?
interceptor.
I mean, for what it's worth,
Works for
I
me.
think the Interceptor is also probably better, at least for a first thing.
Go with the interceptor. Anything else that we want to talk about?
Good to me. I think those were the only things.
Yeah.
Cool. This is
Feeling pretty good.
Yeah. Very short call.
Cool.
Yeah. All right.
Great seeing y'all.
For me.
Thank you.
Sounds
Yeah.
good. See you all next time.
Yeah.
Actually, it won't. I'll be out, but yeah. See you all another time.
Yep. Bye.
Yep.